Okay, South Union Township monthly meeting will now come to order. Would we please rise for some opening silent prayer? Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the roll call, Mr. Vernon.
Here.
Mr. Scott.
Here.
Mr. Schiff are here. Okay, the next item will be the monthly Roadmasters report. Mr. Vernon, would you please present that to us?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the month of March, following is our Roadmasters report. We hauled compost 6 days. We cut down a tree on the thing over on Mulberry Street over in Hopwood. We straightened stop signs and street signs throughout the township. We cleaned inlets throughout the township. We plowed snow 6 different days throughout the township. We used our sweeper truck 7 days, and we're almost done with the main roads. We still have to do some mileage yet. Go back and then just touch up a couple places. We swept the cul-de-sacs throughout the township where our sweep truck couldn't handle it by hand with our guys. We picked up litters 4 different days throughout the township. Mr. Scott's helped. We opened the bathrooms at the Hutchinson Park and the Arford Park, and they're now open, weather permitting. We took down the wooden walls at the rec center. Soccer season is over now, and we pulled up the green turf and stored that for next year. We washed and waxed our pickup trucks and our code cars in the month of March. We also started cleaning out our plow trucks because we had to use them a couple times in April already. And we picked up 3 mattresses on Cold Lake Run, and we picked up 1 on Brownfield Lane. We picked up tires at 4 different locations in our township. I think it covers our Roadmasters report. Anything you guys want to add to it?
Anything additional?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll move on to the next item. The next item deals with the sewage department report. Mr. Scott?
Yes, sir. During the month of March, we did conclude our yearly discount payments. We received 1,427 customers who took advantage of the monthly discount. That's down a little bit from last year, but we're still happy with how many we've received. There's no update on the DCD grant. We feel that since we didn't hear from them, it's actually good news. I talked to Dana from K2. She considers that good news because she did hear from a couple other municipalities that they reached out to them about portions of the grant that weren't complete and they weren't satisfied with. So her email read no news is good news. So hopefully we'll hear next month on that if we did receive the grant. North Union was billed $400 for overages in March. That's the Atlas line. We're actually going to have a meeting with North and South Union here in the next month to try to we bill each other back and forth on overages, and looking at it, it's kind of a wash on what we're billing North Union, which South Union is being billed from North Union. So we're going to try to sit down and just do away with those old agreements that were put in place in the 70s and try to see if we can work it out to where we're not paying each other. We can just, see if it's kind of even and just not trade monies every month. So that's something we'll have on the schedule for during April that we're going to try to get in. So I'll let you know next month on that. We did have a contractor clean and televise the Route 40 line in front of all the restaurants on 40. They started at Chili's and went down to Long John Silver's. And at that time, we also had the line surveyed, so we can use that information to do our sewer planning modules for future development. Salem Heights Pump Station, we had the backflow preventer tested and mailed the findings to Pennsylvania American Water Company. The operators did 92 one-calls, 6 service calls. All pump stations are running smoothly with no issues. We did 1 tap inspection, Lot 5 Maximum Development. That's the new subdivision off of Wiggins Lane. I think he has 2 houses up. The first one, the sewer was complete the next one should be in a couple days. So we do have some new houses going up in the township. We're also reviewing a new format for the township website, and we hope to have that up and running by the end of May. So I'll keep you updated on that. That's all I have for my report as of now, Mr. Shipwell.
Okay, if nothing else, we'll move on to item number 7, Code Enforcement Officer Report. Mr. Brennan.
And thank you again, Mr. Chairman. For the month of March, our code enforcement report is as follows. We do have, like I said, we hired a new code officer full-time. We have one part-time during the day. And we have 2 officers in the evenings working in the evening hours and also on weekends, afternoon, evening, on weekends. Letters given out by our officers for property repairs were 7. We had 10 given out for junk vehicles, 1 dog complaint, 1 burning complaint. Again, you can only burn on Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. It must be a controlled blade fire. That means you have to have someone there watching the fire at all times, and also you must be out by 5 o'clock. So we also had, we did post 1 property as unsafe to live in, and we had 3 quad complaints, and our officers wrote 14 different citations for ordinance violations, and they wrote 16 for garbage violations. We have 16 people who did not pay their garbage after a couple letters sent out to them for asking them to take care of the problem. Under our township agreement with our garbage contractor, they already pick up the garbage if you pay it or not, but anything over $100 we have to file a citation. We do that the last resort. We sent out a couple letters asking you to take care of the problem. We had to send out 16 for citations to our district judge office in the month of March. Throughout the township, our officers traveled, daytime officers traveled 926 miles, and our evening officers on weekends traveled 1,210 miles for a total of 2,136 miles. That's a little lower than most months due to our weather conditions. All told, our officers wrote 23 letters for violations in our township. And also they wrote 1 handicap parking ticket and 5 fire lane parking tickets. That concludes my report. If you want to add something else.
Thank you, Mr. Vernon. Okay, next item, motion to approve the minutes of last month's meeting. Chair would entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
A second.
I'll second Mr. Vernon's motion.
Motion has been made and duly seconded to approve the minutes of last month's meeting. On the roll call, Mr. Vernon.
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
Mr. Schittenbrenner, yes. Motion carries. Next item, are there any comments on the agenda items? If there are not, we'll move to number 10. Number 10 deals with the recent flooding that has taken place in South Union Township and throughout the area. And I know we have a few comments. We've been working some overtime and some late hours and watching the weather forecast quite closely. But the one thing I'd like to say that if it rains so much and the systems that are in place to take the rain, the storm drains, if it maximizes and goes beyond that amount, there's not much that this township can do in regards to situations like that. We're talking about rains that are 50, 60, 50, 100-year rains, and we try to do the best we can, but in some areas where we can do things, we have instituted drainage and putting in pipes, drain pipes, and things of that nature. But the residents must understand that if it rains so much, there's not much that can be done about it. But we'd like any additional comments from the board?
I would just like to, touch on, we have a couple heavy taxpayers that came in yesterday, and own a lot of properties. And like his concern is, he's owned these properties for 20 years, some of them, and he never had a problem until, 2014-15, we started getting rains. And when we had the first rain, everybody said it was a 100-year rain, But then in the past 3 years, I think we've had 3 of those. So, we start looking around at problems, and one problem I know, and I've mentioned it before, is, you know, the rules and regulations the DEP requires you to, I know, I just read in the paper where the city was denied, to clean to dredge the creeks out. And that's the only way you're gonna continue to try to save these, properties. I mean, our storms, like Bob said, our storm sewers aren't, you can't get 3 inches of rain and expect our storm sewers to, we can't afford a storm sewer system that will handle 3 inches of rain. I don't think any small municipality in Pennsylvania can. I mean, I think New York City has a 2-inch storm water system that they're designed to take in, and I'm sure at times it doesn't work. But small municipalities can't. So the only thing that we could do as a municipality would be to dredge the creeks, hire a contractor in the summertime, and like Bob said, and I'm not that old, I remember when my family contracted for South Union Township, North Union Township, Georges Township. We used to put a dozer in the creek and go up the creek and dredge it out, push it to the side, pull the tires and all the debris out. You know, we cleaned the tires. And you didn't have this flooding. I mean, they say we never had rains but we did have rains like this. It's just the streams were clean. If you had a tree fall across the stream, now the process that DEP wants you to take, they don't want you to touch the water. Well, that's fine. They show you a video online of how to clean a stream. They show you in the middle of a field where you can get to both sides of the stream. That's great. When we can get to both sides of the stream, it's easy to clean. What about going down to Colic Run in the middle of the woods and cleaning the stream out? You can't get to it. Number one, you can't cross the people's property to get to the banks of the stream. And the second thing, the only way you can get to it is to actually go up the stream bed. And I know the cities, you know, try to go through the process. They had DEP down there. They had some state representatives. And DEP just says, no, you can't do it. Well, something has to give. I mean, you know, we're doing what, if they give me the green light to clean streams out, I'll tell you right now, I'd have a dozer in every stream we have down here. And in a matter of 2 months, you probably wouldn't have nobody would get flooded in this township again. It just, something has to change. I mean, I actually, what was that, 2014, Bob, when we had DEP up here, and we had, then it was Mr. Mahoney was a representative, and we had DEP come up and we wanted to apply for a permit to clean the stream up by Hutchinson. I mean, the guy, his exact words were, the permit would probably take you 3 to 4 months to get it into DEP to get it looked at. And his exact words were it could take you 2 to 3 years before it's approved. Now, how are we supposed to work with that? And that's just one permit. So, I don't know, something needs to be done, but I can tell you right now, on our level, and anyone that knows me knows that I would be out there in the streams. I would be on the machine myself if they give us the green light to clean the streams. And honestly, I do think it would take care of 90% of the flooding issues we have in the township. So if you are having flooding concerns, I say get on the phone, get on the internet, email the DEP, you know, tell them your concerns, and hopefully it'll, you know, trickle down to our level, and we can maybe get something done. But that's all I have at this time.
Yeah, and I'd just like to confirm that too. I remember even before I became a supervisor in the first few years, we used to on a regular basis would dredge a stream right out here from Hopwood all the way into Uniontown, and then over on the other side of the township in Continental. And that was permitted, but now you cannot get a permit. I think it's taking this environmental protection to an extreme, and to the point where it's not protecting the people. And it just doesn't make sense. And when it's proven in the past we've done it, yeah, you have to periodically do it. But it is effective. It has helped in the past, and there's no reason. And just a good example, up at Hutchinson we have the stream there, and you could watch each year as the stream bed continues to build up higher and higher with these heavier rains. They move the stones into the rocks into the area where you don't have a full stream flow. They drop those rocks. And it's just a matter of time before actually the stream bed is all the way almost up to the level and the height of the stream bank. Well, you know what's going to happen? You get another heavy rain, you're going to have flooding. And now we can't do anything about it, whereas we used to be able to prevent that from happening. But it's something that's going to continue, and I think it's going to get worse unless the state and our state legislators actually take some action to allow us to do our job. Anything, Mr. Vernon?
You guys covered it perfectly.
Okay. All right, the next item. This item deals with a matter that we've been planning or in the planning is to purchase some type of facility or structure or even build a structure in the township that would address our recreation program. It would be a larger structure than what we have now. It would be an indoor facility. We've been talking to Mr. Kluss about the possible purchase of his warehouse that's located down at Kluss Lumber on Pennsylvania Avenue. Today, we have to pass an ordinance or make a motion that would allow the township to enter into a preliminary discussions for the development of an agreement to purchase property in the warehouse located on that particular location there on Pennsylvania Avenue, Kluss Lumber.
That's also in South Union Township, that
Yeah.
piece.
Yeah, it's close to the borderline, but it's close to the close to Kluss Lumber, close to the city. And also one nice thing about it too, eventually when the sheepskin trail is completed between the city of Uniontown and South Union, that building actually borders the sheepskin trail. So since we're mandated by DCED to do an agreement like this, the chair would entertain a motion.
I'll move on your motion, Mr. Shipwell.
Okay, we have a second on the motion.
I'll second Mr. Scott's motion.
Okay, a motion has been made and seconded to enter into preliminary negotiations for the development of an agreement of sale for real estate purchase of the old Kluss warehouse and property located on Pennsylvania Avenue. On the roll call, Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Vernon,
Yes.
Mr. Schiffbar, yes. We will keep the public abreast as to how the negotiations go, and hopefully we can reach an agreement and move forward with developing an indoor recreation facility. And I would just like to say one thing, and I think Mr. Scott has additional information he would like to provide on what we would plan to do if we're able to acquire the ownership of that building.
Yes. I didn't really want to announce it until we were a little closer, but we were required to do so I hope everything goes to plan. But, you know, with the winters seeming like they're getting longer here, I wanted to, and having 3 small kids, we need more stuff to do. So many people are traveling to Morgantown and to Pittsburgh because we don't have a large indoor facility with a turf base. And so last year, with the other 2 supervisors' permission, I did purchase turf for our rec center and actually covered our gym floor, just, you know, to see if it would go as planned, and it did. I mean, our registration for indoor soccer this year almost doubled. We did a little survey at the end there. We had World Cup here a couple weeks ago, and we just walked around, you know, to see if people were happy with the turf. And honestly, I mean, in 2.5 months of indoor soccer, as far as the playing goes and the facility, I didn't get any complaints. I mean, everybody was ecstatic about having the turf on the. I did have a couple basketball guys that were a little upset that I covered the turf up, or covered the floor up with the turf. But and that's really what I wanted to do. And actually, from the beginning, I wanted to try to build a building, but it's just not cost effective. I mean, the North Union, I think, spent $3.8 million, don't quote me, it's close to that, for their rec center. And it's nowhere near the size of the building that we're looking to purchase. And, you know, when I started going out, we just can't afford that. So when we found out that, and honestly, I found out that the building was in South Union Township whenever Bob purchased the property for the Sheepskin Trail. I always assumed that was all Uniontown. And once we found that out and it was for sale, you know, we started doing a little research. And so our intentions are to, if everything goes, I would like to get the building, probably renovate to put new HVAC in, add some restrooms and locker rooms to it, and just turf the whole building. It's approximately 18,000 square feet. It's 3 times the size of our rec center now that we have. So it's definitely a large facility, and I think that with, you know, just being involved in sports with my 3 kids, the use of it would be overwhelming, and not just for South Union Township. I mean, we open our indoor soccer league to, anyone that wants to play, we open it to, and we had a lot of kids from AG, we had a lot of kids from Uniontown, and we had a really good season. I think it'll be a great experience for everyone. So hopefully keep our fingers crossed, and in the next month or two we can make an announcement that we're closing on it, and we can get started on some renovations.
Mr. Barron?
And nothing else. I think we will, before we do purchase, we'll probably have to have a public hearing on it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
we'll
we
notify.
have a long road ahead of us,
Yeah.
so I hope, that's why I said I didn't want to really announce it until we were informed by our legal counsel today. We have to have a resolution to enter into a preliminary
Right.
agreement, so.
And that's what you did now, and then later on, if
Yeah.
the preliminary negotiation goes, you plan another resolution.
Yeah,
At a
yeah,
later date.
right. So hopefully things go. I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed, I know, and there's a lot of people that got wind of it that we looked at it, and I did get a few phone calls, so, hopefully we can do it, and the cost is gonna be probably an eighth of what it would cost us to build a new facility with turf. So I'm excited to hopefully announce that in the next couple months.
Yeah, as Jason mentioned, we've been looking into this for in the recent 2 or 3 year period, and we've looked into various types of buildings, whether it's a concrete structure, even the dome structures that you use the vinyl where the forced air is blown into the facility as they do in other locations, pole buildings, you name it. And unfortunately, it always comes down to the bottom line. What's it going to cost our taxpayers? And we certainly didn't want to overburden the taxpayers. They pay enough taxes. But the fact of it is, we've always tried, and we're trying to further develop our recreation program. I think we have the nicest recreation program in Fayette County and actually in southwestern Pennsylvania. And this is just one more step to try to improve upon that project and provide our residents with additional new facilities that will give them something that other areas don't have. As Jason said, other people, they travel to other areas, Morgantown, Pittsburgh. Now we'll have something here right in our backyard and as part of our program. And another thing, I don't know if you mentioned or not, because of the tremendous demand for a facility like this and for the lack of these facilities, we feel that we'll have no problem on our downtime where we could rent the facilities and help at least pay for the operating costs or even better. I don't think we'll have any problem in bringing in a steady flow of income through the rental of the facilities.
Hey, one thing we forgot to mention also, we're going to try to put an indoor walking track in there also for our constituents. That'll help them in the wintertime.
Yeah, we did meet there with our engineer at K2, and as one of the items we discussed, it probably can be retrofitted with a walking track. And there again, it just depends on the additional cost. It certainly would be a fairly sizable additional cost to do it. But that would just really enhance what we can do as far as at that facility. We can have a whole multitude of activities going at one time. We can have the floor space being used and also allowing the people to walk or jog inside with a elevated track. That would be it'd be something like the YMCA has, and I think North Union has it in their gymnasium.
Yeah, North Union has it.
Okay, we'll move on to the next item, comments from the public. Yes, sir.
Actually, a question about number 11 that we just talked about.
Would you please identify yourself?
Oh, sorry, I'm Bernie Clark.
I know you're well. Yeah,
Okay,
I know you're well known, Bernie, but
is this going to be on TV?
we might have some new watchers or listeners here, and let them know who you are.
Okay, Bernie Quirk. The item 11 about the warehouse, is that currently empty and that's why they're selling it? Or they're not talking about closing the entire lumber yard, are they?
No, this is a building, it'd be on this side of the railroad tracks from, they used to use it for, I think they constructed walls, pre-constructed walls,
Oh, okay.
and when they were building houses, and I don't know if they just did away with that department or not, but
Okay.
I
So
think,
it's just-
it's empty, there
Access.
is like a local company in there, I think he's leasing it to for selling copiers, but we talked to them and they're actually looking for a different facility to try to.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
nice use of something that's not.
Yeah, but no, buses is not going anywhere. This is a
Yeah.
building that they just weren't using.
Okay, the indoor track sounds nice because
Yeah,
plenty of times when you can't walk at Hutchinson because it's.
Yeah.
Or even if it's same trails, so that'd be good.
Well, that's one thing we certainly would have done differently when we built our rec center now that we have. That was back in 1980. And it's just unfortunate we did not realize the need and what certainly would have become a popular attraction to that facility. It would have costed a few more dollars, but you can't go back in time and undo things that you've already done. It's been a great facility. It only cost us $219,000 to build the initial facility there. And we're going on how many years now? And the wear and tear of that facility is minimal, and it certainly has served its purpose. And we've made the taxpayers' dollars get a big bang for what we have here today, what we've done with it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Bernie.
Thank you. Okay, the financial statement, Mr. Treasurer.
in the general fund checking account, $452,113.76. In the general fund investment account, $127,317.58. In the state fund, $444,499.70. In the hydrant fund, $4,811.96. In the athletic fund, $15,351.63. In the payroll fund, $8,838.28. In the sheepskin trail fund, $6,584.71. In the North Union, South Union Intergovernmental Board Fund, $28,831.90. In the recycling fund, $72,136.11. For a total for the road department of $1,160,485.63. And all the accounts from the sewage authority, we have $2,332,438.76 for a grand total of $3,492,924.39. That's my treasurer report.
Any corrections or changes? If not, we'll move on to the next item, motion to pay current bills.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to pay the following bills from our state fund: $26,871.27. Our athletic fund, $7,314.97. Sewage fund, $150,599.33. And our general fund checking account, $376,876.81. My motion.
You have a second on the motion?
I'll second Mr. Vernon's motion.
Okay, a motion has been made and duly seconded to pay current bills as read by Mr. Vernon. On the roll call, Mr. Vernon.
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
Mr. Schiffar, yes. Okay, next item, the engineer is not here today. We'll move on to the solicitor's report. Mr. Davis?
Yes, thank you for having me tonight. I'm just covering for my father, but I have no report tonight.
Okay. I'm sure he'll be back here next month and
I'm sure he already wants me back in the office, so. We're doing well.
can't keep a good man down.
No.
Okay, gentlemen, anything else you'd like to bring up?
That's it.
If not, the chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn at 4:28.
I'll second Mr. Scott's motion.
Motion has been made and duly seconded to adjourn this meeting at 4:28. On the roll call, Mr. Scott.
Yes.
Mr. Vernon.
Yes.
And Mr. Schiffar votes yes. We're adjourned.